Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. That's me, by the way. Yeah, do please like and subscribe. It's down there. It's very important for this site, you know. It helps. I'm going to talk today about HMP Edinburgh. That's in Scotland, by the way. And HMP Edinburgh is built on the site of a 14th century jail called Tolbooth. Tolbooth was the place where they had hangings and torturings, and they even built a large platform, a stone platform that extended out from the side of the jail so that the public could watch the beheadings. So that area is absolutely no stranger to the abuse of inmates, and it's kicking that we're talking about today. An inmate died there in 2015 called Allan Marshall, who was aged 30 at the time, and he wasn't even sentenced, he was on remand. He'd apparently kicked up in the prison, and 17 staff grabbed him. Now, listen, I've been involved in altercations in prisons for a long time. And even the biggest, toughest, roughest bastards, you don't benefit by having 17 men jump them. You get 3 that know what they're doing, and that's enough. It should be enough. I mean, you're going to get your exceptions, people perhaps like Tyson Fury, who would probably take a couple out and then work his way through it gradually. But generally speaking, if you know what you're doing and you've got somebody like, say, myself, a hospital officer, who's got a syringe full of Largactil ready to shoot in the jacksie of the bastard that's kicking up, the poor bastard. I mean, obviously, some people kick up because they're distressed at the situation, but 17 staff. And it was reported, I mean, people who were in that team, a 17 strong, didn't get in the way. I've seen a little video clip of this. It's online, by the way. You can look it up. Look it up on the BBC site. HMP Edinburgh, Allan Marshall. That's Allan, Allan Marshall. Yeah, who at the age of 30 died in HMP Edinburgh in the year 2015. And the very strangest thing about this case was that the Crown Office in Scotland ruled that all the 17 prison officers involved in this would be granted immunity from prosecution. In other words, the Crown Office at Scotland was condoning the conduct. And statements taken from the staff who were involved in this included details of them kicking the man, and one officer actually said that he stamped on him. I mean, how brave is that? You do not need to do that. It certainly is never ever taught at the training school on how to restrain inmates. Just isn't. You don't do that. You disempower them by getting them on the floor, and if needs be, then they're still fighting. Then in my day, it was an arse full of Largactil, which will put you to sleep for a couple of days, but it won't do much else. You know, you'll wake up in your own urine, because you'll definitely piss yourself with that in your jacksie. Anyway, the immunity for the prison officers has been decried as being a large mistake, as this 30-year-old man, Allan Marshall, died of a brain injury which was attributed to an existing cardiographic problem, a heart problem. So he had a cardiac arrest during, 17 blokes jump you, but they can't do it. I mean, you're just getting in the way of each other. Have a look, there's a little video clip, and it shows all these big buggers jumping on this guy who they're dragging out of the cell. They're all in the way, falling over each other. Complete and utter ineptitude. If I was in charge of that, I'd pick 3 of the handy lads, and not necessarily the biggest. Yeah, I mean, I knew a guy at Wormwood Scrubs, Johnny Rotherham, I believe his name was. Yeah, and he was in the judo team for the Olympic judo team for Great Britain. And he was about my height, about 5'8", 5'9". That's all you needed. Get you down on the floor and hold you there. That's all it needs. All you're doing is taking the sting out of the maniacs so that they try and get you. You know, you're not there to beat the living daylights out of them. And the very idea of running up and kicking people when they're on the floor, oh, goodness me. Anyway, there's a big kahoo-ha in Scotland about this Crown Service immunity for the prison officers. And they're saying that this should never happen. And really, you should be held liable for your actions. Yeah, it's just like the police. If you go into police custody and you don't come out because half a dozen blokes or 17 blokes, 17 officers have kicked you to death, I would like to think, that perhaps somebody would stand up and say, hang on a minute. He was all right when he went in. 2 weeks later, he's been kicked to death. There's boot polish embedded in his body. Because listen to this, when you really give somebody a real kick and you've got boots on and it's into their naked body, the polish from your boots gets embedded into the skin. I've seen it. I don't kick people. I never don't like it. I think it's cowardly. Personally, I don't believe in kicking people. Never would. I don't mind. I mean, put them down and hold them down. That's the way to do it. Talking about Johnny Rotherham, when I was at the Scrubs, me and Johnny Rotherham used to go around the judo clubs in London. And, I wasn't particularly good at judo, but I was incredibly powerfully strong at the time. And Johnny lent me his gear because the only belt he had was a black belt. So they all thought I was a bloody black belt judo. Johnny was. I don't know what Danny was, but he was in the Olympic team. So we'd go into these judo clubs and Johnny would take on whoever the local tough guy was. I didn't half bounce him round, I'm telling you. I mean, I went in there and I just had a laugh, really, because, they're not going to hurt me. What are they going to do? Throw me about a bit? I'm game for a laugh. But, hey, 17 blokes. 17 on one man. And the Crown Service grants them immunity. Well, there we are. HMP Edinburgh. It's built on the site of a torture chamber. How appropriate is that, folks? Yeah. And now, somebody made a comment, said I don't write songs. Well, here I've written this song. And I'll tell you what I'll do. I have recorded this in a recording studio with professional musicians. So I will put a link down below, to this, a recording of me singing this song that I wrote. It's been recorded a couple of times in America by various folk groups. It's called Last Train Home by John G. Sutton. That's me, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And by the way, don't forget to see Michael Francesi. He's on tour in the UK. I'll be at the Manchester gig on the 25th of March. So if you're at the Manchester gig, you'll see me. I'll be wearing my black hat, which I always wear because I've got a baldy head. And come and say hello. That's it. And he's at the Monastery Theatre. Michael Francesi. You can look him up on YouTube. There's loads of his stuff. This is Last Train Home by John G. Sutton. The shades of night are falling fast. I hear a whistle blown. In the distance rolling on the last train home. I listen to a lonesome owl that's calling in the night. I'm thinking of what might have been. You know, I tried to do it right. Looking back's not easy when all your seeds are sown and you're staring at that ticket for the last train home. The wind is blowing colder now. Yes, here comes the rain. Will the girl I loved be waiting when I step off that train? Oops, I've got to get rid of that. Just got to get rid of that. Yeah. She told me that she loved me. Seems like only yesterday. With her long blonde hair and deep blue eyes. Well, still I walked away. You know, looking back's not easy when all your seeds are sown. You're staring at the ticket for the last train home. Station lights are dimly lit, cast shadows in the rain. Sitting in this carriage, looking back on my pain. I dread my destination, then the driver rings his bell. I'm heading down the railway track on a one-way road to hell. You know, looking back's not easy when all your seeds are sown. You're staring at the ticket for the last train home. Too late now for sad regrets, the chances I have missed. Dreaming of my lover, the day that we first kissed. The train draws in the station, I hear the whistle moan, and there she is, she's waiting, it's my last train home. You know, looking back's not easy when all your seeds are sown and you're staring at the ticket for the last train home. I'll put a link down below to the studio version of that. It's Last Train Home by John G. Sutton. Thank you very much. Tales from the Jails. Like and subscribe. Hey, wow.